Detroit, Michigan, I'll be there Friday, November 8th at the Magic Bag. Minneapolis, Minnesota, I'll be there Saturday, November 9th at the Parkway Theater. Madison, Wisconsin, I'll be there Friday and Saturday, November 15th and 16th at Comedy on State. And Portland, Oregon, I'll be at the Aladdin Theater Saturday, November 23rd. Get your tickets to those shows and all shows on my website at ryansickler.com.
The HoneyDew with Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the HoneyDew, y'all. We're over here doing it in the Night Pants Studios. I am Ryan Sickler, ryansickler.com. Ryan Sickler on all your social media. And I'm going to start this episode like I start them all by saying thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate anything you do that supports anything I do. Merchandise, the podcast, whatever it is, coming to live shows, and make sure you do them out on tour right now. All tickets for my shows are on my website at ryansickler.com. And look, if you got to have more, then you got to have the Patreon. The show is called The HoneyDew with y'all. I talk about it every week. We've got hundreds of episodes. It's $5 a month. If you sign up for a year, you get over a month of episodes for free. You get The HoneyDew a day early. You're getting it ad free. No YouTube censorship on it. And I promise you, it is worth a cup of coffee to go listen to the stories you people have shared with me, because it is the best show on Patreon. All right. Crab Feast. I'm going to say that too. Go listen to it. If you're a big fan, it's an audio library of 7.5 years with all your favorite podcasters out there with different stories. So make sure you're checking that one out too. All right, that's it. That's the biz. You guys know what we do here. We highlight the lowlights, and I always say that these are the stories behind the storytellers. I am very excited to have this guest on today for the first time. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jim O'Hare. Welcome to the HoneyDew.
God, I can't believe he's here.
Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
I feel like I've known you forever. I just met you about 15 minutes ago, and you're just one of those people for sure. And we have some like friends who have always spoke highly of you. So I'm very excited.
People lie a lot.
They do a lot.
Yes,
but I can tell you got a good heart. Jim, please, before we talk about anything, plug everything and anything you would like.
Plugging it all, huh? Well, I am on this, I guess we call it a book tour, the first one in my life ever. I wrote a book about I call it my love letter to Parks and Recreation, which was a show I did for 7 seasons on NBC. And it's called Welcome to Pawnee, Stories of Friendship, Waffles, and Parks and Recreation. And it is, like I said, it's my love letter. I ended up getting so much support from the creators of the show and the actors. You know, Mike Schur and Greg Daniels, who co-created the show, both sat down with me. I learned things I never knew about the show.
Is that right?
I mean, things that I'm like, what?
Then you were on it for 7 seasons.
And I was
didn't know any of this.
But
That's
things
fun.
that happened to get it going.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how Aziz got involved. I didn't know how Amy got involved, how Pratt got involved, how everybody got involved. There's interviews with the casting director. There's interviews with the cast. Chris Pratt, I keep saying, I call him Pratt, but Chris Pratt was so generous. He's, one of the busiest guys literally in the world. And he made time for me, and he goes, let's go down memory lane. And we did. So there's great stories from Chris and, so many of the cast. And so it was just, it's really, it's different because these are stories that have never been told. Which is fun. And also there's pictures that have never been seen. So there's over 60, and it's a big glossy book, shiny in color and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited about that. It comes out November 19th. You can pre-order now at Books A Million and at Amazon and at Barnes & Noble. They had me sign 3,000.
How long did it take you?
Days. And of course, there was a deadline that I didn't think I was going to make because I was on another project. And anyway, so 3,000, they call them author pages because then they'll put them into the book and people can buy pre-signed books.
Oh, that's cool.
All new stuff I knew nothing about. You can pre-order it now, and it's just really fun. So I'm very excited about it. And the other thing is I'm doing an animated show with the brilliant Aubrey Plaza. The cast is incredible. It's Aubrey and me and Whoopi Goldberg and Jason Schwartzman and my goodness, John Waters and Amy Sedaris and so many people. It's just like this amazing experience. So yeah, so always something going on. Just wrapped a film in Barcelona called El Reboot. That will be coming out, I would imagine, next year.
How long were you there?
I was there for 2 weeks, and we shot some in LA, and then we went to Barcelona. And I am 62 years old, and I weigh roughly 290 pounds, and they had me running through streets of Barcelona.
They didn't give Jim O'Hare. They didn't give you a Tim O'Hare stunt double.
We had a stunt double, and all they would do with him is cut to his feet. No, my fat ass was the one. I literally
the wide shot.
Yes, I said to the director, "Dude, I'm 62 and fat.
For real.
Something's gonna give here. How many more takes?" And he goes, "Well, the camera, blah blah blah." I go, "No, okay." And believe me, I really, and I'm proud of this. I am very easy to get along with on set. I'm the happiest I ever am is when I'm on set. So I'm always happy to be there. But I'm dying. It's like 2 a.m. and we've just done take number 6. I'm flop sweating, of course. And I'm running. The camera guy's on. What are those things with the wheels?
The dollies?
No. He's zooming around on a little machine.
The Segway?
But only with the feet part, whatever that's called. Yeah,
that little thing.
These
guys are in my building. These young Asian kids use them all, and they walk their dogs with them.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you're
so
talking
you know exactly what I'm talking about. Hoverboard. This is what he was. He's on a hoverboard. I'm running through the streets. It was crazy.
And he's that skilled that he's doing that, but also he's next to you on there.
He's also he's done it all. He's worked with everybody. He was incredible. The whole thing was incredible, other than I thought, this is where I die. Jim O'Hare dies in Barcelona, which, by the way, I have been corrected. It's not Barcelona. It's Barcelona. Yeah. I did not know that. But
they love that. They lisp it. Yeah.
They lisp it. Yeah. Barcelona.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a great experience, but I didn't think I would survive it. So there's always stuff going on.
Well, I want to give you props too. Parks and Rec for me was, I just saw recently, it's one of the top 10 sitcoms of all time on one of the rankings, which is fantastic. Yeah. And I feel like you guys were at a tough end to be a popular sitcom because if I remember correctly, you said 7 seasons.
Yeah.
I feel like you were right on the cusp of losing that old TV box where we all tuned in and going into that digital world. And I think that you guys did it very well. And it's also, I think, weird to see a sitcom that late as an old sort of, I know it was the whole Office vibe, shot style, but still to see one that late come up big like that and then last and cross generations and even into that digital world. It's obviously such a great
It's a miracle because you're right. It's all changed.
Yeah, that was, and I'm saying you guys could have got caught up in all that and just disappeared.
Like right now on the air, you have, I was just talking to somebody about this. You have Abbott Elementary. You have Ghosts. You have, there's some new, I think there's a new Young Sheldon spinoff, whatever. So we'll see how all that does. But the point is, I can name on one hand the sitcoms, the traditional 20 to 24 episode a season sitcoms that are out there. In my day, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night was filled with different shows, with different sitcoms and everything. So
our Thursday night was Cheers and Night Court, Cosby, and it was appointment TV.
In my day, it was
Taxi,
Taxi and Cheers and
Archie
Mary Tyler Moore and All in the Family and
Barney
Bob
Miller.
Newhart, Barney Miller. Oh my God, Barney Miller. Carol Burnett Show, which wasn't a sitcom, but you know what I'm saying? Still a brilliant.
Even Mama's Family.
Mama's Family, I've seen it.
Listen, Vicki Lawrence, I want you, girl. I love Mama's Family. I love Mama's.
Though for me, I'm just going to put it out here. I'm a second generation Mama's Family. I liked when they went into syndication with Iola. Like,
was she the wife?
She was the neighbor.
Oh, the neighbor.
Because the first was Vinton came back and they had it with 2 kids. Mm-hmm. And then that was the network show. And then whatever blew up there, they come back in syndication and now Vinton doesn't have kids, but then a nephew comes, however it all works. I just like that better. And another great show that doesn't get the credit it deserves, and it's still out there every day, is Golden Girls.
You're 100% right.
Dude.
Golden Girls is so good.
Smart,
funny. and they all were, they say you got to have the straight guy, the whatever. They were all very similar and seemed to be like almost like a jazz quartet that just
that's exactly what it was.
They were so
you
great.
had character differences as far as one's the sexy little, she's the southern girl, and then the dummy, but yes, they all had the punchlines. They
were all biting. They were all
biting. Yeah,
smart,
and I think
funny women,
that show doesn't get the credit it deserves, because to this day
we have a Golden Girls metal lunchbox out there.
I love that. I was in Golden Girl masks during COVID with all their faces on it. Yes.
Oh, that's good.
And somebody sent me, because I mentioned,
I might go for a Golden Girls Halloween now. I was thinking about being the Australian breakdancer for my daughter.
Oh dear
rolling
God.
with her. And then I feel like unless someone makes that outfit, it's going to be hard to piece it together. But if I can't find that, it's going to be one of the Golden Girls.
The Golden Girls, I think, is one of the greatest shows ever. It's smart, and they were talking about in their day AIDS and gay marriage and like just things that you were certainly taboo then. Now we think nothing of it, but it's just I don't know, a quality show.
Great
quality show.
Let's talk about you. So,
oh my goodness,
first
my
of all,
favorite topic.
I want to talk about your lowlights. Let's talk about you're from Chicago originally.
I was raised in the south suburbs, a little town called Lansing, Illinois, on the border of Indiana. And but then I lived in like Wrigleyville, when I became an adult.
Tell me about mom and dad. And how many siblings do you have?
Mom and dad raised in a very. It's so weird. I don't know where we would fall. Like some people say, was it lower middle class? Was it middle class? I don't know what that line is. But we're comfortable. I don't ever remember wanting. I mean, you always want. Oh, I want this. I want that. But I mean, there was no lack of food in the house. There was no lack of being able to go to school and get what you need, that kind of thing. So great.
Were your parents together?
They were together, and they were pretty amazing.
Now you're 62, so your parents. What year are we talking here when you're born?
I was born in 62. No, 62? I was born in 62. Okay. Oh my God, I never. Is that a thing?
Whoa.
I'm 62, born in 62. There's probably a term for that.
There's definitely
it's my something year.
Yeah.
I never even thought about that. But yeah, so
three
other siblings.
And even if your parents are only 20s at the time.
They were in their 20s,
they're going back to the 40s.
But my parents died young. My dad died at 57. He had just turned 57. And then my mother, now some people, especially if a younger person is listening, she died at 74. And they're like, well, that's not super young. In this day and age,
let me tell you, I'm 51. I don't want to go at 74.
Exactly. No, I mean it's not old. But anyway, so they were that couple that you'd walk in and they would be dancing in the kitchen. They really were.
They liked each other.
They liked it. Well, my sister always joked that my dad he only tolerated us because he knew my mother wouldn't have it any other way. She was the reason he was still there. They just fell hard and stayed there the whole time. And then
what did Dad do for a living?
He was, and this is the other thing. I don't know, the word hero is probably too much, but certainly he did something that I think is pretty amazing. He was a cop, and he loved Chicago cop. Then he was a Cook County sheriff. He loved it. One of the coolest stories when we were kids that we heard was they put him in a jail cell because they were trying to get information out of somebody. So he went in undercover.
Oh, undercover. Okay.
And he's there, and he's been there a couple of days. And then all of a sudden, there's this rush of cops coming in, and they're just grabbing him and getting him out. The word had gotten out that he was a cop. So things were going to go bad real fast.
They were going to kill his
But they got him out.
Damn.
Yeah.
I got to ask you a question. Yeah. Cook County Sheriff, was he ever there when like B.B. King would come in and do the concerts and things like that?
I don't know.
It's a damn shame here's what happened. Ask him.
So here he is. Here he's doing the job he loved. He started after he got out of the service because in those days, and he lied about his age to go into the service, which was a big thing then too. Korean War, so it didn't see action per se, but was in. Got out and became a cop. Loved it. His dad had been a cop, my grandfather. So then he marries my mother, and they start having babies. And it's just the money is just it's not there. We're talking
even back then,
and even worse back then. And so.
And did mom work as well?
She did at the beginning, but then all of a sudden there's one kid, then there's two kids, then there's three kids, and then there's four kids.
Four of you?
Four of us, yeah. So my dad was a cop, loved it. He loved being a cop. And then it just wasn't paying the bills enough. And he didn't want my mom to have to go to work every day because then you got to get someone to watch the kids. And we did have a grandmother. My mother's mother was the greatest grandmother in the world, but she also had her life. It was a lot. So he gave it all up and he became an insulator. And I think that was pretty amazing because I do what I love. I love what I do. No one's happier than me when I'm working. And if someone said, well, it has to stop tomorrow and you now need to do whatever else I have to do to make money, I don't know.
And this is what I wanted to ask you. You don't know, but if you have a family, you will do like your father. But here's what I want to ask you. Did he change? Was he still as happy as he was when he was a cop? Or did you notice a change like this man?
Well, I was young, so I can't really speak to that. My memories of my dad are always he was a pretty happy dude.
You never remember hearing him talk about like missing being a cop or any of that?
He would tell a lot of stories about it.
Yeah.
So in that way, I think you could, from that aspect, you could go, yeah, I think he does miss that. But my dad was also the O'Hares. My mother's maiden name was O'Keefe. The O'Hares and the O'Keefes are just instinctually funny people. Like there was a lot of laughter, just so much laughter. And of course, also family bullshit and yelling and screaming at other times, but in general. So my dad had a great sense of humor. So I never saw, I saw Krabby, of course, and I saw Pissed at Us. And, when the kids goofed up, we'd get yelled at and in those days spanked, which now I guess you're not allowed. We got the belt. I mean, we got, but so did all my friends. This is what was going on. And we never got the belt across the face or anything. And mostly it was across your legs and you would always be putting covers over you or something.
Yeah,
so I don't ever remember it being terribly painful. But that's what happened in those days.
And your dad died at what age?
57.
Of what? What happened?
Lung cancer, but a combination, lung cancer and mesothelioma. But he was an insulator, which meant asbestos. But I will say this, and it was before people knew what they know now.
I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, interrupt.
But I had a friend whose father died of mesothelioma, and it was because his dad dealt with insulation. And what they didn't realize is he would come home, and just the microscopic fibers would get on the couch and stuff, and his kids are breathing it in, and it ended up killing his son later.
Oh, God.
You said it was a combination. Was he a smoker also?
Big time smoker. But let me tell you, we had a good family friend, Ryan, whose daughter did the laundry at home. And she died of mesothelioma, and her dad didn't get it, and he had to watch his daughter die of something he brought home. He brought it home. She was doing the laundry. That was her chore to do the laundry.
So his clothes covered with the shit.
With the shit.
God,
and she was just doing laundry. She's a kid, probably pissy about it. I don't know, whatever. That was her chores. That was one of her chores, and she died of it. So that is
brutal.
Yeah, we were at that wake. That was one of the tougher ones because he felt totally responsible, but he didn't. I mean, but I get where he's coming from, but he certainly wasn't responsible.
No.
But yeah. And so, but I will tell you, here's a quick story. My dad got my brother and I jobs in the mill when we were 15, 16 years old.
Mill? A paper mill?
No.
Oh
gosh. And Gary, like the big stinky, they're building, things for vats of stuff, all this stuff. But I remember it. So now asbestos has been found illegal. And we were grunts. So we would do whatever the guys needed us to do. Move this here, move this there, carry this, carry that. And one day a truck pulls up and we have to unload it. And it is full of bags of asbestos. That is what it is. And my dad comes walking by and I said, Dad, I don't think you know this, but that truck is filled with asbestos. I'm about to just break open the whole thing.
You ain't gonna believe it.
Yeah, you ain't believe it. And he goes like this: keep your mouth shut and unload the truck. So it was still happening.
Yeah,
because that's all they had been using for years, and they probably have stockpiles of this shit.
Bet.
And the company's like, we got to get rid of this shit. Keep doing. So anyway, they knew what was going on. But yes, he was a hardcore smoker. So the combination, I remember, you have sounds in your home. I could hear my dad would get up in the morning, and I could hear it like it was happening right now. Because you hear the bed rocking around. He would get to the side of the bed, put his feet on the ground. You could hear him grab the pack of cigarettes, the fresh pack.
First thing.
And then you hear because you're tightening, I guess it tightens the
packing that tobacco
you're
in
pounding
there.
You're pounding the pack of cigarettes. Then you hear the cellophane because he's ripping the thing off, and they were Lucky Strikes, Camels for a while. And then he had the big Zippo, and then
you could hear it.
And you was like, Dad's day has begun.
Yeah.
And he needed that to begin. People have some people it's coffee and it's whatever. That was how he began. So his diagnosis to death was 4 months. It was fast. And my mother.
And how old were you at the time?
So that was 91. I would have been 29.
And did you get to spend time with him at all?
Yes. Not as, when you look at regrets,
Tell me.
We all knew. Like we get the phone. I'm at work one day
because they tell you they give you the timeline.
No. We didn't know the timeline, but we knew initially when it happened. You get that phone call. It was work. My mother's hysterical. Dad's been diagnosed with lung cancer, which because we had all been on them. Go to the doctor. You're coughing. But we were naive. We never thought that. I don't know. But anyway, so it was lung cancer, and it was advanced, and but things were really starting to click acting wise for me in Chicago. So I'm doing this theater and that theater, and I have my comedy group that I'm working with, and it's busy, and I'm working a full-time job during the day. So if I have a regret in life, it's that I didn't go home. And I went home, I saw him, we all sat and did all the stuff, but it should have been more. It just should have been. Like there were times I was like, it's going to be so sad when I go there. So maybe I'll stay out another hour. Maybe I'll hang at the bar with these guys another couple of hours. So I regret that because you can't get that time back. That's just gone.
Do you remember your last time with him?
I remember all of it. Yeah. Because I was losing my shit because what happened was the cancer went to the brain. And so then he couldn't speak. And then we get a call. So it was like, set him up in hospice. This is where it's heading. And so, but then they call my mother and they say, Rush Presbyterian in Chicago, it's a teaching hospital. And they said, we think if we radiate this certain section, he'll at least get his voice back. Would you want that? And my mother said to my dad, do you want this? Because it was all about what he wanted.
So he was still there cognitively.
But he
just couldn't speak.
Whatever cancer, whatever it started messing with, he couldn't speak.
So he could, but I mean, he could make that decision for himself. Yes,
he could make the decision. And he shook his head yes. Off we go. Ambulance comes. We all head to Rush Presbyterian. It didn't work, which leads me to a kind of a funny story. As this is all as his last few days. So we're at Rush. We get the word that it didn't work because he couldn't speak. And then my mother is just distraught. I mean, she's losing the love of her life. Like this is her person, as the kids say now. It was her person. And she never dated after, nothing. She always said, I had the best.
She never remarried, never had a friend.
Never had a date. What saved her life, I always say, because when he died, it really was, what is going to happen to her? Because she was still young. She was 54. Like, what is going to happen to her? Grandchildren came into the picture and it changed everything. Gave her a purpose.
Sure.
It gave her, like, I remember after my dad died, he had one of his insurance policies was for like $250,000. And I'm at work and my mom calls me. She's hysterical. Like, oh, what's going on? Because everything's been so sad, I'm like, oh, what now? And she said, I just got the check in the mail and I'm just going to tear it up. I don't want this money. I don't want money because your father is dead, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, the reason you have the money is he wanted to know you would be taken care of. That's why he paid for your insurance policies.
$250,000, Mom.
This is why he did this. Yes. So that if God forbid this situation happened, you wouldn't be without. You would anyway. So, but anyway, so we're in the hospital, and again we're all sad because now we're just going to plan to get him back home, and we're going to do hospice at the house. And some new doctor walks in, and because it's a teaching hospital, so it's constantly the same questions. And he says to my mother, he's asking her. He goes, now has Mr. O'Hare had other surgeries? And we've heard all these answers before, but my mother just all of a sudden she goes, well, here goes the family secret.
Oh shit!
The four of us. If there was a camera on the four of us, it was like, What?
I'll bet, because you
What?
have no idea.
We don't know
coming.
what is about. What do you mean the family? What's was she a woman? Like, was my dad a woman? Like what,
Yeah.
what is going on? And she goes, I mean, really, the four of us are. What are you about to say? And she goes, well, I'm messing up with the year, but around 1967 or something, he got a vasectomy. First of all, that's not at all what the doctor meant when he said surgery. He doesn't mean that. But
That's not even a surgery.
it's not even a surgery. It's a procedure. And we're like, what?
That's a family secret.
First of all, Irish Catholic. We were raised,
Okay,
we
all
went to
right,
church every week. Now, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And then she goes, there's this long pause, and she goes, well, every time you looked at me, I got pregnant. And we're like, that ain't how it works, baby. That is not how it works. So, yes, my dad, she kept the secret till she died, as far as she said he went in with a friend and they both had it done. And we were like, who else? Who else? And she goes, that's his story to tell his family, which is true. I mean, it really wasn't our business. But yeah, so he had a vasectomy. We had no idea. So what happened was, we get him back to the house, I think the very next day. So by the time when the bed is set up in the family room, the hospital bed, hospice, which is, I think, one of the greatest things in the whole world. I don't know if you've ever dealt with them, but they're there for you. They're not just there for the patient, they're there for the family. And one of my sisters is a nurse. And so we get him there, and the doctor has said it'll be 3 to 6 weeks. That was what it's a guesstimate. They never know, but probably he'll pass within 3 to 6 weeks. So let's say it's 2:00. We get him back in the house and whatever. And it's all very sad. And people are, some families come to visit and everything. But around 10:00 that night, his breathing did get kind of weird. And everyone started kind of losing their shit. And I lost my shit the other direction. I got pissed. You guys, we have 3 to 6 weeks. We cannot, every time there's a weird breath, we cannot go crazy because it would just be too much. We have 3 to 6 weeks of this. He died 20 minutes later.
No.
They heard what I didn't hear.
That was the death rattle.
That was the death rattle. And I think what happened, and again, I'll never know unless I die and there's a heaven and I get to see him. He died at 10:19, I believe.
In your home? Was he
in
home?
the home?
He
We
was
were all
back
there.
home.
Everybody was there. But here they all are. We're all around him, and I'm so pissed at everyone. Like, because I'm just thinking we're going to blow up. Our heads can't take this for 3 to 6 weeks. If every time something is weird, we lose our shit. But in my opinion, here's what happened. So earlier in the day, the hospice people. So when someone's in that condition, for a man, they have to do a catheter. But with hospice, you don't really do catheters because there's no medical stuff there other than pain meds.
Just trying to keep you comfortable.
You're just trying to keep the person
way
comfortable.
out.
So they do something called a Texas catheter. It's a condom that is attached to a
That does
tube.
not sound good.
Yes,
Okay.
and you put it on, for a man, you put it on the penis, and then that's how they urinate.
So wait, they roll a condom on your penis and you pee into the condom, and then there's a tube attached to the end of the condom,
Which
so it
has
doesn't
the
have to
bag.
go in your urethra.
Nothing goes in your urethra.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's called
All
a
right.
Texas catheter.
Huh, that
Been
sounds
around.
good.
These have been around for. Please, I'd like to go to bed with one every night. Are you kidding me? I get up twice a night now. I'd love to just lay there and piss. Exactly.
Give me a Texas catheter.
Go to the bar for a couple hours. Give me that condom.
Jim, you've been drinking for 8 hours. How the hell have you not got up yet?
Exactly. And you hold up your bag. Oh, I've been going. Yeah, please. It's the greatest.
I've never heard of
Yeah.
that. Okay, great.
But I remember the hospice person talking because they were like, who's going to be able to, do this? And it was, and my dad was not the guy, I know I've heard families say, oh, my dad would walk around naked or whatever. That was not our family. We just weren't, you'd see him in his underwear here and there, but we weren't, running from his bedroom to the bathroom. But there was we had modesty. There was no doors open when people went to the bathroom. And I'm not knocking it because every family has their own stuff. We weren't those people. Doors were shut. Privacy was respected. And I think, because he heard everything that was going on. And I think when he realized his daughter, the nurse, was going to be doing that, he was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not. And again, I don't know. But things went downhill pretty quick after that.
Interesting thing.
Things went downhill pretty quick. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, and he was gone after the breathing started. 19 minutes later, he's dead.
He heard his daughter was going to have to put that
And
Texas
he's like,
cat.
oh,
He's like,
hell
that
no.
ain't happening.
Hell no. Yeah. And again, I have no proof of this. But when you're told 3 to 6 weeks, they were off by 3 to 6 weeks. Like they had just seen him at the hospital.
Yeah, like no doubt he's gonna make it through the night. No,
yes.
right?
Oh my God, that night, certainly the next week.
You could have people fly in and say their
say the goodbyes. Gone.
He was like,
same day.
Hell no.
Gone
Wow.
same day. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Hey guys, we have a new sponsor here called Cuddly. Now, Cuddly is a fundraising platform that supports animal welfare organizations all over the world. We have a rescue cat in our family named Crystal. Crystal was a little cat that my stepson rescued a while ago at a shelter here in LA. And then the cat gave him a high five and went viral, got on Ellen. You know what I'm saying? Rescuing's a big deal. Over 4,000 shelters and rescues trust Cuddly to raise funds and receive donations of supplies for the animals in their care. Cuddly thoroughly vets and verifies every rescue organization they work with. So unlike with other fundraising platforms, you can be certain that your donation is actually going to an animal in need. In order to join the Cuddly platform, an organization must be a 501c3 nonprofit in good standing. All donations made through Cuddly are tax deductible, and it is incredibly easy to access your donation receipt to file with your taxes. Your donation history is clearly visible in your donor account, and Cuddly even puts them all into a single document for you. When you make a one-time donation, Cuddly distributes the contributions to the animals and organizations with the greatest needs each month. Now your dollar goes even further. For every $20 donated through a one-time donation, Cuddly will gift a soft and snuggly blanket to a rescue animal in need. Head to cuddly.com/honeydew today to make a donation and help make a difference. That's cuddly.com/honeydew. Now, let's get back to the do. Man.
And of course, that was all awful and all the terrible things that go with that, you know. But yeah, so, but I think he was in the world of a Midwest family man, he was a brilliant guy who his family was the most important thing in the world.
Do you think back then too, like just when you got a career, that's your career.
Yes.
You're usually a cop forever.
Forever.
To change careers back then, these days you're doing it nonstop. But back then, to change careers from something to, he didn't go to be a PI or something I feel like would be in
security work.
Nothing. Or even anything that used to be dealt with his military background. He went to something brand new.
He got it. They call it. He worked with the tools. They call it. He went to the union. He became an apprentice, and then he got into the union.
Yeah, and he had to start from the bottom. And he was already
working with tools. He was on the skyscrapers, putting in insulation.
Damn, in Chicago.
In all that January, February, March. That's why, you know, for actors. And believe me, people say, "Oh, actors don't even really work." Believe me, we do work. It is work.
Yes,
our hours are crazy. I just did this pilot recently. Every day was 12 hours, so that part's crazy. That being said, my brother was a welder, and he's on a skyscraper in February in Chicago.
Yeah,
that's work.
That's work.
That is work. Me,
no doubt.
Even though I'm on set a lot of hours, we're sitting here laughing. I think I'll run to my trailer, watch a little television between scenes.
Take a nap.
What did the guy crafty today? Oh, that looks like a lovely cake. You know what I'm saying? Like, but and not that there isn't also work, because there's studying and it is work, but it's different work. And so my dad did hard work. He did hard work. And then he became a boss at the company, you know, and all that kind of stuff, but still always going to the mills every day. And
so he was a hustler. He wasn't just content being the guy at the bottom. He rose all the way.
Yeah, he did really well as far as that goes. Yeah. And then my mom started selling real estate, and we had a really, like, we lived in a house.
Can I ask you one question?
Oh, sure.
Were all the kids adults at this point when Dad passed away, even the youngest?
If I was 29, my youngest sister would have been 25. So yes,
so
all
everybody's
adults
out of the house.
But it's so weird, because in my memory of when he died, I feel like I was so much younger. But the facts are the facts. I was born in 61. He died in 90. I was born in 62. He died in 91.
Okay, this is your 62 year.
Yeah.
Did you have any sort of epiphany? I'm sorry again. He died at 52, 57?
57. Just turned.
When you became his age.
Oh, yeah.
Did it hit you? And what were you scared? Did things hit you?
All of my siblings, we've talked about this over the years. It is weird. there's something about that. Like when I was approaching it, I'm like, well, Dad died at 57. Now he had factors that I didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
He was a smoker and he worked around
asbestos.
That being said, I was also in the mills lugging those bags of asbestos.
In the house when he's bringing that
also in a house
home.
with asbestos and in a home with 3 smokers because my grandmother lived with us.
Oh shit!
So, and in those days, and we were talking about this earlier, like when you're in the car and the windows are rolled up and there's 3 people smoking. I don't know how you even saw out the windows. So we had a house filled with secondhand smoke. So all that goes in your head when you're like, well, I mean, it could happen. And my sister ended up getting lung cancer, non-smoking lung cancer. Thankfully, she's doing great. But that was like 6 or 7 years ago now. So she's technically past the, I think 5-year mark is when it's scary. If you get to the 5, you're okay. But anyway, so yeah, it is a weird thing. And every time one of us turn that, we're like, wow, I'd live longer than Dad. And now that my youngest sister is going to be 58, she is, we've all outlived my dad. Yeah. So now it's next. My mom is next. She was 74. And my oldest sister, if I'm 62, brother 63, she's 64. So another 10 years. So it is all weird though. It is weird because, I had a buddy, I did a play in Kansas City, November, December, January of this past year. An actor, some people out there will know him, named Jerry Kernion. Great actor. 59 years old, blah, blah, blah. We had this great run in Kansas City. It was amazing. And 3 weeks ago, he died from a stroke and a brain bleed that one thing led to another. Like, so you don't know. You don't fucking know day to day what's going to be.
Literally, your next step could be your last. Some people could get 3 to 6 weeks or 10 minutes, or some people get a light switch. You're just walking and bloop, it's over.
That's kind of what happened to him, except he lingered, which was a shame. But here he is, an actor sitting in his apartment in New York, having lunch, and his brain explodes.
That's just how it was?
Just how it was.
Good God.
And the girlfriend, he was able to, his body, the only thing working was his right side. He couldn't speak. He was able to somehow dial her, and she knew something was wrong because he wouldn't speak, but she heard him breathing. So she runs home. And of course, everything blew up. But so yeah, you don't know.
So my father died at 42.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, he's a baby. And
of what? Can I ask?
Well, back then they ruled it a heart attack.
Yeah,
because he had a heart attack and he had just gotten out of the hospital. They sent him home, but they told him you do have blood clots. So what ends up happening years later? I was telling you a little bit about this out there, but so that's what they said he dies of. Then at 42, the same age, I collapse on my bed. And they're telling me, you're fine. There's nothing going on with you. They're sending me in and out of the hospital, telling me I'm
and
wrong.
You know there's something wrong.
And I can't even function.
Yeah.
And every day I've got clots. And what I found out now is that thank God I passed those clots on my own. No medication, no nothing. I should not have done that. And then it comes to this hospital thing. And I'm like, look, I've got this disease. And you got to be careful with me. And then they're not. At 42, when I find out what's going on, it's a genetic thing. So they tell me, look, back in 1989 when your father died, if anyone died in their 40s, we just said heart attack.
Yeah.
But they're realizing now that probably most of those people died of some sort of clotting issue and not a heart attack.
Right.
A young.
Did he drop dead or was it a prolonged?
No, he had a heart attack. He was in the hospital for like a week and then they released him to come home. And he was at our home. We did Thanksgiving at my great aunt, but my Aunt Marguerite's place in Baltimore City. And then we did a Thursday, Friday there. And then we went back to our place for the weekend. And then that Sunday night, he went to bed and my younger brother found him dead in his bed and woke us up. So it was, and I'm guessing just like myself, his chest was probably killing him because he went to lay down and he had a little bit of blood, they said, or we saw on his toe. And that doesn't happen from heart attack. So now.
Wait, what do you mean? I don't know what that means.
So they said that he possibly could have had a blood clot that he spit, or he could have bit his tongue or lip or something.
Right.
But with a heart attack, you're not getting blood. It just, your heart's attacking you. So I find out that through deductive reasoning, my mom has to get a blood test. My brothers, none of them have this thing that I have, and it's genetic. So he had it.
Wow.
And that's actually what killed him, not a heart attack, this blood clotting disorder.
And what about his siblings? Did his siblings have any issues?
I have no idea. Our uncle was one of those uncles that when everybody died, he just robbed the family and took off. So he's still alive. So probably not.
He probably doesn't have it, yeah.
Probably not.
But you know, I always wonder when they find people just dead in bed the next day, because it happens. I always hope that person never even knew it happened. I just hope that they went to sleep and things stopped. Or was there panic? Like I always hate the thought of people panicking. Like things think about it.
I was asleep that night. I wondered, did the man yell? Did he call out for us?
Right. But if you're sleeping, who knows? Or did he just go to sleep?
Or did he just lay down thinking,
that is a gift to go to sleep and die, but not at 42.
No.
That is not the way to do it. My mother's father died at 61 in his chair after dinner. My grandmother went to she asked him a question. She was doing dishes and he didn't respond. And she thought, well, Emmett, and she was getting pissy, and she went in and he was dead in the chair. So he just died. So it's all, but things we'll never know. We don't know. We will never, things we will never know.
I want to talk to you as well, because I ask every guest to write in with some things, and one of your things was depression and panic attacks. When did that start for you? What sort of happened?
I never dealt with any of that in my life.
Wait, can I ask you one more question?
Yes,
I'm so sorry.
About 8.5 hard. Oh, wait, was that what you were going to ask her? I'm sorry. Did I jump the gun on that? Is that on me? I'm sorry.
I should not be jumping.
I assume that's where we were headed.
You asked me a question, let him answer. I just want to know, even though you are older than your father ever was, do you feel older than him?
No.
Right? That's Dude. I've outlived my dad by a decade, damn near, and I still feel like his son.
Yes, 100%.
I can't even
Though
get
I see him in the mirror every day.
Yeah.
The faces that, like my God, we all do. We always say, you could take these 4 O'Hare kids and put us in it with a million other people, and you're going to go, O'Hare, and O'Hare. My mother did not have children with anyone other than John O'Hare. I can guarantee that, because we have the little chin thing. We have the blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we are the same people. But you're right. Mentally, I
don't care if I live to 103. I'll never feel older than that man.
And I hope is that good? I guess
I think it is.
I think it's good too.
I think it's also like a respect thing and a peer thing. And like, this man came before me, and
yes,
I don't look like it. I wonder, like, man, I still feel, look, my body doesn't, but I still feel 20 couple years old mentally.
Even when my body doesn't feel, and believe me, every day something's hurting. Yeah. I still in my head, I'm like, oh, I can do this. I can do that. Like, Jim, you have to go. Like my manager yesterday on the phone, she was just like, not berating. That's not the right word. She's so concerned. My schedule is crazy. And she goes, you have to take time for yourself. This is crazy.
Okay, that's good.
But I'm also the guy
who's
keep
miserable.
Me busy. I'm a happy guy when I'm busy. I just am. So
I do. Like, I went on a hike at Temescal Canyon recently, and as I'm in the middle of the hike, I'm thinking, my dad's not even alive at this point, and I'm doing all these things. Like, I'm 51. Like, I'm healthy. Like, man.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
It is weird.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes.
The
penis question again? Yes.
Yeah, tell me at 8.5 hard.
Oh, the panic attack.
Yeah.
Yes. I never dealt with any of that. And then I moved to LA in 1994.
How old are you at that point?
32.
Okay.
Came out here to do a play we had done in Chicago. It, as I've said many times, it's what gave me my career, this play, because it became kind of a cult thing in Chicago. And we thought, boy, maybe LA. Could it happen there? And, the dream was always LA pilot season when you're an actor in Chicago. So we brought it out to LA and it did well. But I was sitting in my little apartment in Hollywood. I had a big meeting that day, this specific day, with CBS, because I had auditioned for a remake of Harvey, which was the old Jimmy Stewart film about the invisible rabbit. And anyway, and it was starring Swoosie Kurtz and Leslie Nielsen and Harry Anderson and Jonathan Banks. And anyway, amazing. And I can't even believe I'm in the running. But I'm not only in the running, I'm the choice. Except CBS doesn't know who I am. And they're like, we don't know. No, we don't think so. But the producer and the directors are like, he's our guy. Please meet with him. Okay. So I had this big meeting in the afternoon. But at about 10 o'clock on this morning, whatever day of the week it was, I'm just sitting on the couch watching television. And I always say it was a wave of awfulness. Just a wave of, like feeling fine.
Boom.
Everything is terrible. I mean, literally, that's how it was. Oh my God, I'd never experienced this before. So my sister's a nurse. I call her. And here's what just happened. It sounds like you're having a blood sugar issue. Do you have any orange juice? No, I don't have anything. There's a little market nearby. I said, let me go, So I walk there and I get the orange juice. I come back and I'm talking to her and she goes, sip it, sip, blah, 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 all this stuff. Nothing's helping. And now I don't know what to do because I'm thinking I can't get to this meeting. I don't know what's happened, but I don't want to walk out this. I can't walk out this door. I don't think I can. So I've always said the greatest acting job I've ever done in my life was that day because I did get out the door. I did go to that meeting and they gave me the job. Yeah. So I did get through it. But that
was day one. That was day one. Learning what this thing is. And did they start coming back regularly or
big hardcore?
Daily?
But they weren't. No, these weren't panic attacks at this point. This was just, as I learned later, hardcore clinical depression.
Oh.
And it just hit out of nowhere. Because so my sister, after this all happened, I said, I'm not better. She goes, go to the doctor. You got to get a physical, blah, blah, blah. So I go to the doctor. We do all of it. Chest x-rays, whatever. Jim, you're fine. Blood work's good. Everything's good. He goes, I think it's, you might need to see a therapist. I go, what are you talking about? There's something wrong. He goes, I agree. I'm not saying there isn't, but it's not here. We think it's up here. So, but now I have to head to Vancouver for 6 weeks to do this movie, which of course I'm excited about. But here I am heading to Vancouver and I just want to, lay in my bed and be in the fetal position. But again, I got through it. And that's when the panic attack started. I was on set one day talking to another actor. And as he's talking to me, I can feel, oh God, something's going on. And then I'm literally physically shaking, sweating. And he goes, are you okay? I don't even know what he's saying to me because my head is, I don't know this is a panic attack at this point. I just think something terrible is now happening. Heart attack or whatever it is. So, but then all of a sudden it went away as quick as it had come on. Okay. So I got through that. So that was a rough shoot. It was so exciting in so many ways. It was my first big, exciting thing. Here I am in Vancouver for 6 weeks with Leslie Nielsen and Swoozie Kurtz and all these amazing people. But it was a battle to get through it. So I do. And then I come back and then I start therapy because something's got to give. And so then he put me on meds and he said you were clinically depressed and these are panic attacks.
And can I ask you why? What made him think it was clinical depression?
I don't know how they label it, but here's what his thoughts were. Why this was all happening. He said, you've never grieved the loss of your father. And I said, well, I have to tell you, I disagree with that because I have cried my ass off. I have been in the shower crying. Like, to this day, if I'm in the shower and how your brain's like, oh, I got to do this, and something will come up and I'll think of my parents and one thing will lead to another. I could be crying in the shower.
Jim, I'm doing it at the grocery store. Yeah, I hear a damn song come on. I say all the time in the frozen food section, oh God, what the hell?
These frozen peas.
Out of nowhere.
Exactly, yeah.
So even all the years later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I felt I did. Like, my God, did you see me at that funeral? I was a mess. And but then you go deeper and and he did exercises where you talk to this person and all that kind of stuff. So I did all that. And I think ultimately it came down to, which we talked about at the top of the show, I had regrets about where I was for him at the end. Mm-hmm. And even though it was only a 4-month period and I was there, but I could have been there more. And my dad was not a I love you type of person. He showed it with acts of love and
service,
touching you and patting you on the head and that kind of thing.
And he's providing, giving you out there switching careers.
Exactly. And supporting me because he never understood what I did. Because he
Can we talk about that for a second too? Because I laugh about this all the time. Even you, you're 10 years older, but I mean, our dads, our grandfathers were, my grandfather was World War II Air Force. My dad's Vietnam. And I never had the conversation with them, but I talked to a lot of these guys, and then they're like, I want to go tell jokes. I want to act. They're like, you want to do what?
What? How about get a job, you lazy son of a bitch?
It
Get
doesn't
a
make
job.
any sense to men from that generation.
No
Nor
sense.
should it. Nor should
Made
it.
no sense. He worked Monday through Friday. He brought home a paycheck.
Right.
His family thrived. Yeah. This is what you do.
Yeah.
And so he'd be like, he literally said to me, he goes, so you work downtown Chicago during the day, then you do theater at night and they don't pay you. Yeah. I said, well, I kind of lose money because, you help build sets. And so you go run and get paint or you can run and get wood. So it never, ever made sense to him. That being said, he was at every opening night. I'd go when the reviews would come out, his buddies would go, oh, your dad showed me that review. Good for you. Or, you know what I mean? So
he was very proud.
He was proud, but he didn't get it.
Right.
It never made sense.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I feel really bad. It can't be a regret because I had no control over it. But one of the things I feel bad about, he never got to see the success. My mother did. My mother
Your mom got to
watched
see
me
on
on
Parks
red
and Rec and all
carpet.
that
She
stuff?
saw me on Parks and Rec,
good.
and she saw me. I flew her to New York.
You ever have that conversation with her mom? With your mom? Like, Dad would have loved this.
Oh God, she would say, because he was never gone. He was
good.
He was
like
never
that.
gone, and the grandkids who never met him know all about him. He was never
See, you need
gone.
people like that.
Yeah.
My buddy Shannon, I got to give him credit. I happened to be in town doing a show in Baltimore, and then Tom Segura was at the Lyric, which is that's the bucket list theater if you want to perform in Baltimore. Is the Lyric.
Okay.
It's the one. And he's doing it, and he's like, reschedule your flight out for another day. Like, just come do the show with me tonight. Yeah. And I was like, yep. And he's giving me 20 minutes at the Lyric in Baltimore, and my buddy Shannon comes. And when we're done, we're in the lobby, and people are coming up like, great set, great set. And he's like, man, your grandmom and your dad would have fucking loved this. And do you know, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah.
I'm just,
yeah.
I'm
right.
This is my job.
Yes,
I got
it's your job.
I'm also not expecting to do this show in front of 2,500 people in my hometown. I got to get boom, 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 boom. You don't have time to think about it. And I just always love that he said that to me after. And I started crying right there. I was like, you son of a bitch.
Well, my dad's friends who are still alive will say he'd be so proud.
Yeah,
he'd be so proud. He'd be so proud. And my mother, like I said, she spoke his name every day. So he was still part of our lives in many ways. So, but yeah, I hated
pictures of him up around the house.
Oh my gosh, all the stuff, all this. And then when my mom died, she knew she also had lung cancer, and she knew it was coming, and she basically planned it. She put notes together. She's totally screwed me over because I was a mama's boy big time. And when she passed, I said to my family, my siblings, I go, I know you guys are thinking I'm going to be the guy who's going to talk at the funeral and everything. I said, I can't. And they go, we know. Because I just knew how I would be a mess. So she had said to me, when I'm gone, go to my bedroom, go into the thing, and you'll see this steel box. And inside is my insurance papers, and everything was laid out. On top of everything was a letter. Dear Jimmy, please read at my funeral.
No.
Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Well, I can't not. Like, my mother just literally said this in a letter, and it was the most beautiful letter to. She wanted everyone to know. She goes, I don't want other people telling my story. I want to tell my story. And it was only 3 pages, but she goes, I was born into a family of love. And then I was raised, blah, blah, and I never thought I could be happier. And then I met John O'Hare, and he is the greatest man that I've ever met. And then he gives me Beth and John and Jimmy and Ann. And then my grandkids come along and they save my life. And she has me saying to them, I'm here for you. Talk to me. I'm still around. Like, oh my God, it was lunacy. I was sobbing like a, it was just crazy. So she got me at the very end, but she was, she got to see a lot of the fun stuff. And I love that. But she's also one of these people, very prideful, very, very prideful, because my mother was fine financially. My dad had left her insurance policies and Social Security, all the stuff, but she wasn't wealthy or whatever. And so, when things were kind of rolling pretty good for me, I said, listen, I'm going to start every month. I'm just going to send you X amount of dollars.
That's nice.
You're going to what? Well, I'm just going to but I don't need your money. I mean, she
wanted to rip up the 250. Bro.
Yeah, exactly. You cheap fucker. That's all you're sending me? No, just the opposite, dude. She wanted, I buy my own. I go, I'm
she
not.
took offense.
She took offense.
She didn't want to be a charity case.
She goes, I go, Mom, I go, you could take the money, spend it on the grandkids. I don't, it makes, I said, you've been nothing but supportive. The money you helped me through the years. When I first moved to LA, me and the guy who I did the play with, we moved here together. We rented this place. It was mayhem. We didn't have money. I go to pay the rent one month and the guy goes, it's already been paid. I go, I didn't pay this. He goes, I got a call from some Eileen O'Hare. She paid it. So I'm saying this, I just wanted to say, hey, things are good.
Thank you.
Let me, no. And if you send me a check, I will rip up that check. I mean, she was pissed. So then the only way I could kind of repay was with things as far as, Mom, I'm taking to New York. We're going to go see some Broadway shows. She had never been to New York. Mom, we're going to go to here. Mom, we're going to do this. Mom, So that was the only way I could do it because she wasn't going to let me. It wasn't going to be cash.
Yeah.
It was not going to be cash. But I was lucky. I had incredibly supportive people, even though they didn't get it.
Tell me, because we got to get you out of here, but tell me how eventually how you've gotten a hold on these panic attacks and the depression. What did you do to help
think
yourself?
Medication, number one. They put me on Zoloft, and for me, it helped big time. And what helped with the panic attacks, and I don't give the doctor credit for this because he's not the one who told me this. I'm driving home one night. I'm on the 405 in California and listening to whatever radio show. This is, in the 90s when we didn't have all the podcasts and everything else. So I'm listening, whatever, maybe KFI or whatever the radio station is. And there was a doctor on there talking about panic attacks. And I thought, but it would always make me nervous to listen because when I used to talk to friends about panic attacks, it could cause one. It created the atmosphere. Oh, wait. Oh, God, is it happening now? Because you dreaded them so bad. They were debilitating. This person said on this radio show, here's what you do. You talk to yourself. And she said, you know what this is? Can't hurt you. Ultimately, it can't hurt you. You know exactly what this is. You're not going to die
from this.
You are not going to die from this.
You've been here before.
You've been here many times.
That's interesting.
And I'm telling you, it was for me the game changer.
What are you saying? These things right here? You're fine. You're okay.
Fine. You know what this is? I'd feel it come on because it was daily at that point. I'd feel them come on. Oh, you know what that is? Okay. And I got better at it. So it didn't immediately turn it off. I wasn't immediately oh, screw you, panic attack. I banish you. You can't come here. No, they would still come, but they would get less and less intense the more I was okay, you know got what this is. Yeah. This is nothing. You know exactly what this is. And I would say within about 6 months of that, I did not have a panic attack again until I was on a plane heading to Atlanta to do a film with Steven Soderbergh. And I had somehow convinced myself that he made a mistake and he cast the wrong person. I had 100%
for sure.
I'm oh, he thinks I'm somebody else. This is wrong. And I'm, sitting in that first class seat and everything is good. And then I go, oh, no. I think there's been a mistake. And then I in that case, I say I forced myself into a panic attack. It was self-imposed. Mm-hmm. The others just happened. Mm-hmm. They just fucking happened. This one was self-imposed to where the flight attendant, sir, are you okay? She's looking at a fat man sweating. She's probably thinking, we're going to have to divert this plane.
Yeah.
I said, no, I'm good. And it was just a good old fashioned panic attack. And so that was the last one I had. And that was, years ago. And I hadn't had one in years. So thankfully, they are not part of my daily existence. They are not. Thank God.
That's great. Thank you for coming and doing this.
No, my pleasure. This was so much fun.
Last question for you, and we're going to get you out of here. Advice you would give to 16-year-old Jim O'Hare?
Oh, boy. As the fat kid. But so there's always who cares what people say? When you look back, I'm that guy now. You see people go, oh, so-and-so said this about me on the internet or this. Who cares? I don't give a shit. If I don't know you and you mean nothing to me, what do I care what you think of me? I don't care. So I wish I could convince myself at that age, it doesn't matter. Be a good person. Be good to the people that you love because they're going to be good to you. I'm somebody who, I like to give, but if someone shits on me, I'm tough to rebound from that because I'm always I've been nothing but good here. And then you could do that to me. And then I can kind of be okay, I don't need that anymore. And I should probably do less of that. I should be less stringent about that. But I think I would tell myself, just don't listen to to people that don't matter.
Great advice. Yeah. Promote one more time, please.
Oh, promote the book. Welcome. What's the name of the book? It's about Parks and Recreation. It's my love letter to the show. It's called Welcome to Pawnee, Stories of Friendship, Waffles, and Parks and Recreation. I have an animated show called Kevin with Aubrey Plaza that will be coming out next year. A film called El Rebote that we just shot that I don't know when we just wrapped, so I don't know anything more about that, but at some point it'll be out there.
All right. Congrats. And thank you very much for doing
pleasure.
this. As always, Ryan Sickler on all your social media. Come see me on tour. Catch a live show. Tickets are on my website at ryansickler.com. We'll talk to y'all next week.